It's nearly Thanksgiving here in the US, which got me thinking about the games families play when they get together. This is a great time for board games, except Risk. Don't play Risk. That game has broken up more families than Jerry Springer. But the most popular game that people play at Thanksgiving has to be this, where the tradition of breaking the wishbone comes from, this time on the gaming bench. Now, this isn't really a game, it's more of a holiday tradition. And if you're not familiar, you take the wishbone out of your holiday bird, two people each hold one end, make a wish, and pull. Whoever comes away with the larger piece is supposed to get their wish. As I'm recording this, Thanksgiving is still a week away, so I don't have a real wishbone, so I carved this one out of oak, not to scale. Now, if you do have a real wishbone, it works best if you let it dry out for a couple of days. You can try to break it right after dinner, but you're not going to get that satisfying snap. Now, there's no official rules per se, but it seems like every family has their own house rules. In my house, it's cheating if you put your thumb up against the top of the wishbone like this, because that leverage almost guarantees that you're going to come away with the bigger piece. Other families say you have to hold it with your pinkies or two fingers. Your family probably has other traditions. What we know is that the breaking of the wishbone is firmly established as a Thanksgiving tradition, but where did it all start? Let's start by talking about what the wishbone is. Scientifically, it's called the furcula. It's a Y-shaped bone that works as a kind of strut between the shoulders of many flighted birds. The bone expands when the wings are pulled downward and snaps back when they're lifted. This helps store and release energy created by muscle contractions. It helps in flight. Not all flying birds have a furcula. For example, some owls, toucans, and parrots don't. The non-flying emu does have a furcula, but ostriches don't. But you know what else does have a furcula? Dinosaurs. They vary in size and shape, but it's the same sort of structure that modern-day chickens have. Evolution is wild. Now, like most folk traditions, it's hard to really pin down when they first started, but it's believed that the tradition began with the ancient Etruscans. These people lived on the west coast of modern-day Italy and reached the pinnacle of their civilization about 400 to 500 BCE. The Etruscans considered certain birds, especially chickens, to be akin to oracles. When a sacred hen would die, they'd let the furcula dry in the sun for several days. Then, believing that the furcula still contained the hen's prophetic powers, they would hold the bone, stroke it, and make their wish. Since it wasn't broken in the process, multiple wishes could be made on the same bone. The Roman Empire encountered the Etruscans in the 4th century, igniting a series of wars that lasted nearly 3 centuries. The Etruscans were granted Roman citizenship in 90 BCE, and by 27 BCE, the entirety of Etruscan territory was incorporated into the Roman Empire. The Romans adopted many of the Etruscan customs, including wishing upon the furcula. By the time the Etruscans became Roman subjects, the custom had evolved into snapping the bone, not just holding it. Interestingly, the name wishbone didn't come to be until much, much later. The Romans invaded the British Isles in 43 CE, bringing the tradition with them. The mystical fortune-telling aspect of the furcula stuck around for a surprisingly long time. In 1455 CE, German physician Johannes Hartlieb wrote about the ability to predict the weather by consulting a goose's furcula. When the goose has been eaten on St. Martin's Day or night, the oldest and most sagacious keeps the breastbone and, allowing it to dry until the morning, examines it all around, in front, behind, and in the middle. Thereby they divine whether the winter will be severe or mild, dry or wet, and are so confident in their prediction that they will wager their goods and chattels on its accuracy. I'm not sure if Hartlieb is presenting this as accurate fact or contempt for foolish folk practices, but either way, it was still happening in the 15th century. However, it appears that by the 17th century, the practice had lost all its mystical trappings and was just a simple game of luck. At that time in England, the furcula was called the merry thought, which I think is delightful. I came across another wishbone custom from this time that I had never heard of before. The English folklorist John Aubrey compiled a collection of pagan and ancient customs in his book Remains of Gentilisme and Judaism, published in 1881. He writes, "'Tis common for two to break the merry thought of a chicken or woodcock, etc. The manner of breaking it, as I have it from the women, is thus. One puts the merry thought on his nose, slightly, like a pair of spectacles, and shakes his head till he shakes it off his nose, thinking all the while his thought. Then he holds one of the legs of it between his forefinger and thumb, and another hold the other in like manner, and break it. He that has the longer part has got the thought. Then he that has got the thought puts both parts into his hand, and the other draws by way of lot. And then they both wish, and he that lost his thought draws. If he draws the longest part, he has his wish. If the shorter, he loses his wish." So, like this, I guess? The description goes on to say that they have the same custom in Germany, but without the business about putting it on your nose. They just break it. The first time Wishbone appears in print is in the 1859 edition of John Russel Bartlett's Dictionary of Americanisms. Wishbone or wishing bone. The breastbone of a fowl is so familiarly called, especially by children, from a custom connected with it. The bone, after being dried, is taken by two persons who hold each shank between their forefinger and thumb, and then pull until it breaks, at the same time wishing for something. The one in whose fingers the larger portion remains, it is said, will have his wish. So today's tradition is identical to what Bartlett described 160 years ago. Last interesting tidbit. Some entomologists believe that getting the bigger half of the wishbone led to the expression, catch a lucky break. These strategic tips come from Bill Nolan, a retired chef and culinary educator who has been the supervisor of the Butterball Turkey Talk line for nearly a decade. So, Bill knows his turkey. First, determine which side of the bone is thicker. If you grab it by that side, it's more likely to break in your favor. The higher you hold the wishbone, the greater leverage you'll have, and again, may break in your favor. Finally, Bill suggests that you should just hold still and let the other person do all the pulling, again, giving you a better chance of having a lucky break. Or, don't try to influence the results and let fortune play out as it will. And that's everything I know about lucky wishbones. I usually discuss ancient board games on this channel, and if that sounds interesting, I hope you like and subscribe. Happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time on The Gaming Bench.